Get all your materials ready: pencil, 2 round brushes, white gouache and tape, and white pen. Moisten your watercolors. We're going to be using 3 colors: ultramarine blue, dark blue, and permanent magenta, or crimson, whatever red you have. The dark blue is a mix of the ultramarine and red. You're going to start out by outlining the basic shape of your whale. Looks a bit like a big banana with 2 petals at the end for the fins at the back. And I went ahead and outlined it again in a darker graphite so that you could see. Now you're going to take your round brush and get it really wet and just paint the inside of the whale. Because we're going to do a wet on wet technique to color in the whale. Maybe put a couple coats in. So now I'm loading up the brush with ultramarine, and I'm loading it up fairly heavily. So because it's pre-moistened, there's going to be a lot of paint on the brush. Depending on how much water you've put on there, it may flow more or less than what I have going on here. Take your time with this. You can push the color around as much as you like. You can even pick up your watercolor pad and tilt it, and the paint will flow. I'm cheating a little bit. I've used a little bit of a different color blue there on the tail, and it is mixing very well with the ultramarine. You have to make sure that you've got a lot of paint on your brush, because when it dries, watercolor dries much lighter. Okay, now we're getting ready to put the red, the crimson or magenta. Load it up. Watch it. That's a neat blossom there of paint. You can just, you don't have to lay down the crimson exactly where I've laid it down. You can put it in different places. And you can see how it mixes together to make a little bit of purple. It's very pretty. Okay, so now we've filled in the whole whale. We're going to take that gouache, just dab a little bit down on your palette and load up your brush and just dip it down where there may be highlights. So where I've placed it, it's where the light might hit that whale and give it some dimensionality. So once you're done with filling in all the parts of the whale and you're happy with it, then you can grab your dryer and gently dry it. You can let it air dry too. That's going to give a different effect. I find too when you let it air dry, then the page stays more flat. So the next step is now to put some background in behind the whale. So I've taken some ultramarine and just a very light wash, just some waves underneath the whale so it doesn't look like it's just plop down on the page. So now we're just putting little stars, little crosses that represent the stars behind the whales above the waves. And one of the supplies I forgot to mention was a toothbrush. So now we're going to take that toothbrush and we're just practicing on that left side there. And when we get the right effect, the one we're happy with, when we practice, then we'll splatter some paint onto our whale. So now it looks like our whale is floating in the stars. You can follow it up with some white highlights with the white pen or the white gouache. And that's it for Whale Galaxy. I hope you enjoyed it. Keep practicing.